Perfect. Okay. My name's Catherine, and I will go through honestly a lot of different things with Copilot today. So if I breeze through it, you can slow me down because I there's just so many things that I would love to show everyone today. The way that I designed this demo is more about things that maybe you might even not know that Copilot can do. So whether that's just like hidden tips or tricks. So I hopefully it's not just the basic demo of what Copilot can do, but maybe things that you didn't know. So hopefully you get to learn something today. The first thing, what we're going to do is using just Copilot Web. Now, this is the chat version of Copilot that's free for anyone. And I'll just quickly show you that Copilot can help with contextual browsing with any research and when you're looking for information on the web. So really quickly, what you could just ask Copilot a simple question like, what is Microsoft Copilot? Please cite your sources so I can do further research. So simple prompt can be like that. And it honestly could be anything that you're looking up. And as you can see, I was very specific with Copilot, say, give me your sources so I can do the research, right? As you can see, there's some little numbers here and you can hover over them and they're here too, where now I can just dive into a link and start doing my research this way. Let's see if we can find something like this. What is Copilot? So here's a page. Now I'm getting into my research. What is Copilot that I'm looking for? So really easy. I found something. Now, just a little tip. If you're using, let's say, Chrome or even Safari, I would actually recommend using Microsoft Edge because if you see, there is a Copilot icon right here. Now, when I click that, I can now open up Copilot as I'm browsing the web. So it's really helpful finding information this way because as you can see, Copilot will recognize what you're looking at on the web. So if I just say, create a summary of this page, right? Summarize the points on this page, Copilot knows what I'm looking at. And here it will give me that summary. So we have integrations, capabilities, and benefits as well versus me going through and finding that information here. And we can even ask Copilot still, as we're having this conversation with Copilot, maybe I want to find, do you have any additional resources that I can look at, right? There's some adoption resources, a Copilot success kit, even a starter kit. So right here, and then remember, there's always those resources and links that you can click into and continue your research. Last thing I could even ask Copilot, how about an ebook or an infographic that I can share with my organization, right? So as you can see, it's really easy to do research and browsing this way with Copilot. I like to think of it as like an enhanced Google because it's really quick with what you can find. So here's some infographics, and this one's an Amazon book, and you can even see this is from Crayon. And maybe I want the specific Microsoft 365 ebook. And right here, I just pulled up an ebook really quick about Copilot that I can share with my team. All right. That was a really quick way of doing some browsing with Copilot. We will get into the work tab as well. But again, this is the Copilot, the chat that we were looking at. What we'll do next is branded presentations with Copilot. For example, if I have a Word document right here, now this document's just about opening a coffee shop in Toronto. I have the introduction, store location, product offering, etc. Let's make this into a branded presentation. So here we have a brand new PowerPoint. Actually, we'll open it up right here. And what I did here is, as you can see, I am in my company's branded template. And for your presentation to be branded with Copilot, you need to ensure that you have your template handy. And how you do that is if you go to the design tab, you have different templates here that you can choose, right? But this one specifically is ProServeIT. And on the side here, now we can create that Word document that I show you into a presentation. So we'll just create a presentation from file and let's see if it can pick up what this file was. So we can start typing and it should search my OneDrive for that document, but maybe it's not working right now, but that is okay because what you can actually do is simply copy and paste this link into here. And we'll watch Copilot do its magic. So as you can see, it's looking at that document, it's outlining it, and now it's already generating slides. So think of how much time you're saving when you spend time creating those presentations. Now Copilot can at least do the very first draft. I wouldn't say it is the best because as you can see, there's still some things that you can obviously tweak, but it is the first draft that you can start working with. So it is pretty good in my opinion, but we did create a PowerPoint, I would say in less than a minute. It added 18 slides and then it even has images here. You could swap these out too with PowerPoint as well. Kevin, I see you have a question. If you had a template for the slides, will Copilot use it? Yes, that's exactly what I did right here with Copilot. This was ProServeIT's branding slides. As you can see, these are our templates and I could even change a bit. Where is it? I think it's here. Yeah, if you go to the designer, right beside Copilot, all your templated slides should be here. So I could even change up how it looks, but of course it depends on your template. So yeah, really easy. I think even too, I could show you, it does generate speaker notes. It's not too bad, but it does give the content into there. All right, let's move on. We will now go back to the chat and we're going to actually head in the work tab. So the work tab is when you do have a Copilot license with Microsoft 365. Now, this is what Dina was mentioning when Copilot will access your documents, your meetings, people that you interact with, your colleagues. So that's what this work tab is. And then web tab just does the straight research with the web. So we'll head into the work tab and Copilot can reference your content. So for example, if I just do a /, here is that, actually, I'll just show you. We have documents here. We have people I can reference. These are my colleagues, even the files that I've been looking at, meetings that I have attended, and emails that I've even been receiving. So that's what Copilot will reference because it has access to your data. Let's say, for example, we want to do this file, which was at Toronto coffee shop, and I can just ask who is the target audience. So right now it's going to look at that file. And here's the target audience. You have students, professionals, general consumers. Now I could even ask a little bit deeper into this document and I could say, where would you suggest the best place to open a coffee shop in Toronto and why? Right now I'm using Copilot to ask about that document. And what's even cool too, as you'll see, it even goes into the web. So with the question that I asked it'll look at the document itself. So that's the document from our company. And then even the web. So, it's doing its own research to help you with understanding the document or even if you're working on it more. So pretty good. And again, it does give you those references where it's getting that information from. Another thing I think is pretty cool that I learned this past week, we'll open up a new chat. Copilot can look into my emails. So I can ask Copilot, look at my emails and give me a list of tasks that I need to complete. Please include the due date, who the email is from, and as well as any information relevant to the task. And then please even give this in a table format. So that's a lot of information that I can give me Copilot, but it will do it, which is pretty cool. So here's some tasks, like it was from Davin. I need to populate some answers here, give some sample images to Composer. I need to update my time. So there's a bunch of different things. And then I can even ask Copilot, can you sort this by priority? Even, I know sometimes you'll see like it's not specified because maybe the email didn't specify a time, but it does give you a nice idea, what I need to do first as soon as possible by April 25th, as you can see. So really cool thing that you can try with Copilot. James, I see you have a question. Will it do this with other email clients? like if you're saying like if a client emailed you to do something, it should. Like for example, Davin, he isn't from our company. It's another company as well. So it is looking at my internal emails and even emails that I'm getting externally. Oh, no, Gmail and Yahoo. I don't think so. It will just be with Outlook. Yeah. But those, but if the email is not an Outlook email and it's still coming to your Outlook, it might still be able to, as long as everything is in your Outlook, it should work. But don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. All right. So that's a couple of things you could do with the work tab. Let's actually look a bit into our Outlook here. So something that you could do that I think is very helpful is even scheduling time to meet with people. For example, finding time to meet with Dina and maybe as well. Let's add another person. Let's find time to meet with Hunjin and Dina. Copilot and Outlook can actually schedule a meeting and even find the next available time. As you can see, it was really quickly. So you're not even spending time looking for when everyone is available. And I can just send this right here, or I can even edit it and it will bring up a time too if I want to change the time. Really simple and fun thing you can try. Another thing that I think is really cool is creating some rules with Outlook. For example, create an inbox rule to highlight in red and pin to the top all the emails from Dina. So even generating rules with your Outlook can be very helpful. So here we'll just close this, highlight these, pin them from Dina. Let's make them red. And we can just run this rule really quickly. We'll save this. It should start generating. It might not do it right away, but we can come back. We can come back and see if, yeah, as you can see, it's running the rule. So we'll come back and we'll check this out. Okay, couple other things. We'll head into OneDrive. This I actually discovered a couple weeks ago, but there's Copilot in OneDrive actually. And let's say you had a couple files you wanted to compare. You can select them here, open up Copilot, and compare these files. So let's say maybe you were comparing two different proposals. In this case, we're doing two different resumes. So we can easily compare the two without even looking at both of them. So really, really nice this way. It does get squished, but that's okay. You get the idea. And you can do up to five documents at a time. So yeah, you can see languages. This person speaks English and Spanish. None are listed here. You can see the awards different. So easy to compare documents here. And then another thing too, going back into that document, even asking questions with Word documents, very easy. And Copilot actually always gives a summary now too that I've noticed. I've been using Copilot for much over a year now, and there's been a lot of different updates. They used to not have this, but now it's really nice how they have a summary of the document there. Even again, similar with those references numbers. If you click that, it'll bring you down to that area. So it's easy navigation that way. Really quickly, a question could be, what are some coffee drink varieties we should consider adding to our menu and why? Please provide recipes to the drink. Great, because now I'm looking at the product offering. Maybe I want to work on this section a bit more. Copilot can help you. Again, it's very similar to what we saw in the chat, but now it's right within your Word document too. So even from my document, here are some, and then from the web, gave us the recipes too, as you can see. Okay, last thing before we actually get into prompts, let's look at, actually, I'll just share this with you. If you don't have Copilot on your phone, you can actually get it on your phone if that's helpful too. So I just like mentioning that because sometimes people don't know it's an app, but it's really helpful. And then we'll just get into prompts. And I did see a question from Tom. You mentioned the 5 document limitation. I also found Copilot very limited on the ability to ingest, analyze larger documents. What are the limitations for number of pages Copilot can review with a prompt? And are there techniques to ensure I'm searching to the end a target document before returning results? That's a really good question. Of course, Copilot does have its limitations, I find too. And that's what I was mentioning, that they're constantly upgrading it. And even Microsoft values the feedback from their end users. So I have seen a lot of improvements in terms of the limitation for the pages. That I'm not actually too sure. I have to get back to you with that. With prompts, though, as you can see, like across the different prompts we had in the demo, the main ingredients that we recommend using is like a goal, context, source, and expectation. So when you're using your prompts, you want to know, what do you want from Copilot? And then the context, why do you need it? Who is involved? You have your source. What information or samples do you want Copilot to even use? And then expectations. How should Copilot respond to your best fulfill your results, right? So think of these different things as you're using Copilot and creating those prompts. And here are just some examples we can look at, even with the ones that in the demo, but you'll see for this one, write a summary, that's your goal. And then what's that source? All those emails from Sam in the past 2 weeks. Even draft an email outline, a training manual about time management. Here's your goal. Context, audience is professional. They work in a hybrid environment and they need to attend virtual meetings, right? So giving more context to Copilot, and then even the expectation, I want this tone to be friendly and suggestive. So think about those things. And the last thing before I wrap up my demo is the Copilot prompt gallery. So here you can actually, I'll put this link in the chat. You can just look at different prompts that you can use with Copilot and try them out. Something I actually learned today was you can save these prompts as well. So let's say I wanted something for Word. I like what this is. I can save it. And if I go back to my chat, for example, let me just refresh this. Here you always have your view prompts in almost all of the Microsoft apps. You'll see your prompts. I guess it didn't save, but what you could do is, let's go back here. Maybe I want to save this prompt. I click save. I'm saving this prompt as a title. This is the prompt, what it is. Let's save it. When I go back here, I can go back to my prompts and then I'll always have it saved. So if you really like a prompt that you've been using, you find you're using it every day, saving them in your prompt gallery is pretty helpful. Is there any questions? Lorna, I see you were setting up an agent. It would not let me drop in files. I tried copying the doc, but was limited. Yes, I know sometimes there is limitation with character count. And I think that maybe that's something that Microsoft can probably up in the future. But I know sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you might need to try it as a PDF. That could work. But copying the file, with characters is sometimes frustrating.
And with that being said, thank you again, everyone, for joining, and we hope to see you in our next session.